My name is Natalie Prez, and I have an interview with one of the members of the band Trivium on November 11th, 2016. It's been about 7 years since I last spoke with Trivium. The last time and first time I did was way back in 2010 or 2011 when you guys played out in Hollywood on that one tour where it combined with the other tour with Cannibal Corpse and a ton of other bands. Do you remember that show?
What year was that, did you say?
I think 2011, 2010 or 2009.
The only one I can remember where a tour combined would have been 2000, and it was Sounds the Underground.
Yeah, no, this was way later where you played the Hollywood Palladium, and it was Trivium's tour and I think Cannibal Corpse's tour, and both tours were happening at the same time, and I guess the promoter said, we're throwing you all together on one show for this one time.
You know what, I do remember, wasn't Hatebreed on the show as well, you said?
I think so, yeah, Hatebreed, Chimera, Trivium, Cannibal Corpse, and I think a ton of other guys I can't think of.
Yeah, that sounds about right,
Yeah. Do you remember that show?
That's awesome.
Yeah, that was a crazy one. So what has the band been up to since then?
Since then, it's touring, obviously, because it was pretty difficult to even remember that show. And, yeah, ever since we started touring in 2004 of April, we've really been out. I mean, we've been out anywhere from 4 to 9, 10 months out of a year, if not more in some of the earlier years. Constant touring and constant making of records and doing everything that is to be a band. So we have 7 records out now, done thousands of shows, and it's going good. Life is good right now. It's nice to finally be on a little bit of a break right now.
You are currently about to release your debut album again. Why did you want to go and re-release this album?
Well, originally, Ember to Inferno was on a record label called Life Force Records, which is an independent German metalcore label. They were the first label to ever express interest in us when we released our Blue demo. It was self-titled as Trivium, so we released that locally. Our webmaster, who did Inflame's website and our website, passed it to Life Force Records, since he knew the guys, and they immediately signed us. So once they signed us, they put the record out, and unfortunately, when the record came out, it wasn't really available anywhere because they didn't have proper distribution outside of the world. A year later, they redid their distribution, and it was available everywhere else, but then we had just been signed to Roadrunner Records. The Life Force contract for the record itself was pretty short, so I think it was maybe somewhere 3 to 5 years ago or so, it expired, which meant all the rights to the record itself went back to me, which is pretty rare nowadays. It's pretty rare that a band retains its rights back to the recordings. So I received everything back, and I wanted to do it right, but I was waiting for the right time and waiting for the right amount of content. So with this record, ab initio means from the beginning in Latin. And what I wanted to do was bring everybody up to speed from where the band started to now. And so with the Red album, it was recorded when I was about 15 years old in 2001. It has 3 originals that no one's ever heard. The sequential record after that's the Blue album that some people have heard. It's available on eBay like the original, but it's still pretty rare. The next is Ember to Inferno, which has been out of print. And the next is a thing called the Yellow demo, which is actually the 3 songs that got assigned to Roadrunner Records, which are re-recorded on Ascendancy, but it's the primal versions of what those songs were on that. So I wanted to bring everyone up to speed with the beginning of the band up until the moments before Center.
Cool, makes sense. So what would you say the differences are between the very first print and this re-release print?
The difference would be, as far as the different versions of the record, there's the standard edition of Ember to Inferno, which is exactly the way it was. I didn't want to remix, remaster, re-record, because there's something about retaining the original, retaining the very first impact of what it was. I didn't want to change that for people. I wanted people to be able to transport themselves back exactly to that moment in time where the record was. So when it comes to the standard edition of the record, it's untouched. The standard edition of the vinyl as well. It's the original recording of Ember to Inferno, untouched, unedited, because I wanted it to be the same impact, the same moment. The deluxe CD and the deluxe vinyl, it has the red record, blue, and yellow. 3 things that most people haven't heard. Some people, like I said, have heard the Blue album, but it's pretty darn rare to find that record. The Red album has 3 songs no one's ever heard, and then the Yellow one has the 3 songs that got assigned to Roadrunner Records, which is like Lights the Flies, Blinding Tears, and Deceived.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Well, that makes sense. Just basically, you get the original, and then you get a ton of bonus content by the looks of it.
Yeah, absolutely. And then for the deluxe versions, it has brand new art.
Mm-hmm. As far as you personally, which do you prefer when it comes to collecting music? Do you prefer CDs, MP3, vinyl, cassette tapes, or it doesn't matter?
I mean, initially my entire life it was always CDs, so I had a pretty extensive CD collection. It was recently that I went to my local record shop, and they were down to trade all of my old CDs for vinyl credits so I could beef up my vinyl collection. So the only thing I really focus myself on collecting nowadays is vinyl. I have a really extensive classic rock and classic, maybe classic rock collection thanks to my mother-in-law giving my wife and I her entire classic rock collection. My father-in-law gave me his classical music and folk, like some old folk, country, blues, and jazz records. I have a really big black metal collection because I'm a big black metal fan, and then a mixture of a bunch of new stuff, everything from like Rodrigo y Gabriela to the Black Keys to Metallica to In Flames.
Since you are a black metal fan, will we ever see Trivium take that approach and like completely change their genre? That'd be funny. Hey, we're releasing a new album and it's totally black metal. Wait, what? That'd be funny.
Yeah, well, you know, black metal has influenced our band a little bit. There are little moments here and there that haven't. But as far as like with our band, we've always expanded and explored our sound to see everything we can be across the 7 records. And one thing that we're not quite, I mean, we're definitely not just a death metal band or just a black metal band. That wouldn't quite work on our sound. But I am working on a solo project. It's called Mrityu, M-R-I-T-Y-U. It's being produced and actually co-written by Ishan from Emperor. We've become pretty good pals over the last couple of years. So someday when there is some time, we will be doing that.
Nice. Will Trivium be re-releasing any more of your albums, or not yet?
Sorry. Well, there's no more to release after this. After Ab Initio, there is nothing new. So this is it. This is the final like beginning stages of records being released from us. All
right. Do you have any new music in the works in terms of a follow-up to your last album, Silence in the Snow?
Right now, there aren't any plans on recording anything new. The only plan for us is the tour we have coming up in February. Aside from that, there's nothing that we're really putting our energy into, aside from being really great for that final European tour. We just finished our final U.S. tour about 2.5 weeks ago.
You guys have yet to release a live album or live DVD. When can we be expecting one of those to appear?
We've always wanted to do it. The only thing we've done that's closest to it is that live Chapman Studios thing that came with New Wave Special Edition. So hopefully we will do it one day. We know we want to do it. We will do it. We just don't know when we're going to do it.
Okay. Will we ever hear your music played in acoustic format?
Yeah, quite a bit of that has been out, and it is out right now. Let's see. I'm not exactly sure when the very first one we ever did was, but there are versions of all sorts of songs floating around acoustically. Built to Fall, Black, Die in Your Arms. I just did Strife, Watch the World Burn, Dead and Gone on multiple different radio stations for acoustic solo versions. I also did a cover of Black Hole Sun, Down in a Hole. We have an Iron Maiden cover from The Greater Good of God, or For the Greater Good of God, and we've done the song Iron Maiden acoustically as well. So there's a bunch of stuff, but there hasn't been an actual record yet. I don't think there'd ever be like a Trivium acoustic record.
All right. If you did ever, do an acoustic record, would you do it acoustically, but keep in the screaming portions of the songs? That would be funny.
We've tried it. It doesn't really work. It sounds really weird. We've definitely tried it. Yeah, it doesn't work, unfortunately.
Yeah, I've seen a few YouTube videos of other bands that do that. They go acoustic and they keep the screams. It's so funny. It can't really work it out, but it's funny to see anyway.
It doesn't quite fit.
What about the holiday season? What did you guys do for Halloween this year? Anything?
This Halloween, thankfully, we were off tour. So, yeah, we had just like a Halloween get-together at my house with friends and family, and I dressed up because I hate the character, I dressed up as Negan from The Walking Dead. But technically, since I'm Asian, I was Glenn as Negan for Halloween.
Cool. What about the other holidays for this year? Do you guys have anything planned for Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's?
Yeah, it'll just be family stuff. It's just hanging out with family and being off the road for those things will be nice. We're not typically on tour for Christmas or New Year's, but we have been on tour before Thanksgiving. Sometimes we've had shows and they've been days off. So this year it'll just be low key, which will be nice.
And what does the rest of this year into next year have planned for you guys? Is there anything else you would like to say?
It's just going to be rehearsing. Just going to be rehearsing for the rest of this year, individually and as a group. Right now we're in the individual rehearsal stage. Like today I sang for 2 hours, played guitar for an hour, and that's something I like to keep up at least 5 days a week of self-practice. And then as we get closer to that European tour, we'll start rehearsing. So probably start rehearsing around January or so to get ready to go over for that headlining tour. Aside from that, it's finally a well-deserved break because we've been touring pretty relentlessly lately, and it's been good to be home.